Sabri Saidam. He's the Deputy Secretary General of Fatah's Central Committee. Sabri Saidam, this was a day that so many feared they would never see, for the families of the Israeli hostages, but also for the families of the Palestinian prisoners. They've been languishing in Israeli jails, some of them for decades. What are your reflections on today?
Well, definitely history is in the making today. I have no doubt, but I was quite disappointed to listen to President Trump bragging about the might of his weapons, the weapons he has given to Israel, weapons that have killed my cousins and aunts in Gaza, the pain and anguish of the Palestinian people not being highlighted the way the anguish of the Israelis being highlighted is quite disappointing. Nevertheless, away from the bragging, away from the compliments, and away from the hugs, as you said, the big hug, there is the new line that President Trump is proposing about peace, prosperity, dignity, and allowing Palestine to live. Netanyahu has adopted the policy of having the cake and eat it all. Now Trump is saying, let's share in the cake and let's see how things will evolve, promising the world a different Middle East. We would like to see him put deeds to his words. We would like to see a change in the Middle East. And Israel has been trying war for the last decades. It's time that Israel tries peace for the first time and give back the land to the Palestinians where they can establish a state of their own.
You listened to President Trump's speech. You also saw the unprecedented pressure he placed, not just on Hamas through the mediators, but also on Israel and in particular on Prime Minister Netanyahu. As you know, the United States has always been the mediator of choice in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Do you believe now that the United States can play a kind of role that can bring about a just peace, even if it does take much longer than President Trump seems to think?
Well, as a Palestinian, I certainly hope so, despite the fact that all the people he had praised are in love with Israel. I would like Israel now, I would like Trump rather, to look at the Palestinians with Palestinian eyes and not through his friends of Israel. We would like him to be neutral, we would like him to be fair, as he says, and we would like him to play the role of an honest mediator. If anything, everybody wants honesty now in the Middle East if you are to bring about a new reality which he desires. What really concerns me now is the fact that people are celebrating the release of detainees and prisoners. May I remind you that there is 10,000 Palestinians that are remaining in Israeli prisons that are ought to see liberty. So if this scene is concluded, it has to be concluded fair and square, and for Palestine to prosper and to see indeed a different reality.
And Sabri Saidam, as you know, it was just very late yesterday that it was confirmed that the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas would also participate in this summit, which of course has been delayed but will take place in a short time in the Egyptian Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh. How important was it that there be high-level Palestinian participation?
I think, friends were making jokes about the delay in inviting the president to attend representing Palestinians, saying, this is going to be more of a wedding, that the bride and groom will not be there. So now that the Palestinians are there, they can defend their right of being, and they can speak to themselves about their future and their aspirations, and can reflect on a critical phase of life that they've passed through over the last 2 years. So now we have the meeting. Let's hope this indeed brings about a new reality. And let's indeed see the world recognize the Palestinians, not only as human beings, but also as people of right, people who deserve a state, people who deserve the dignity they have long acquired, and people who deserve their independence that they fought for the last 7 decades or more.
Indeed, Sabri Saidam, because you were watching the speech, you would have seen that moment which went around the world, that in this huge adulation for President Trump for this moment, that there were two dissenting voices, two members of the Hadash Alliance, the Jewish-Arab Alliance. They held up posters saying, "Recognize Palestine." And after he left, they were escorted out. And Ayman Uday, who I'm sure that you know, the Arab member of the Israeli parliament, said, "We were just trying to raise what everyone around the world should recognize, which is the recognition of a Palestinian state." As you know, that the Palestinian Authority, Palestinians have been encouraged by how many more states, including Western countries, who joined the majority of countries worldwide, who have recognized a Palestinian state. That wasn't mentioned in President Trump's speech, in any of the speeches, in fact. But that, for the Palestinians, is certainly one of the big issues on the agenda, isn't it?
Absolutely, because Trump has been a strong supporter of Israel. He has said day in and day out that recognition will not help. And I, for one, don't know as to how there would be a new Middle East without Palestine coming into being. But I'm hopeful that President Trump will get the heat of this, will capture the moment, and would believe after attending the meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh today that indeed the way forward is for the recognition of the state of Palestine coming into being, coming into existence, and also being supported. And there's been a lot of locomotives who have doubted this move, but then moved in favor of it, and quite clearly declared what I would consider as a turning point in history, to see the UK and to see others, France, Canada, Australia, and other heavyweights will follow suit soon, come forward and say yes to Palestine, voting for Palestine, voting for the state of the people who have long suffered for their independence is the right move. And I certainly hope that Israelis alike would consider this as a matter of fact and as a matter of urgency, and also believe that the way security is to be brought about is by serving or allowing justice to be served to the Palestinians. Having the cake, eating it all, turning Palestine into a Swiss cheese-like land where Israel wins the cheese, we get the hood, is not the way forward, definitely.
No matter how far and how fast this process goes, Sabri Saidam, there's a great sense that this is a new moment, a new chapter. As we speak, we're watching on the screens the scenes of celebration from Han Yunis, a shattered Han Yunis, but still celebration today to welcome the detainees home. And on the other side of the screen, it's from the roof of the Sheba Medical Center from Ramat Gan, just outside Tel Aviv, one of 5 places where the Israeli hostages are being taken by Israeli military helicopter to get some of the medical care, both physical and emotional care, that they so desperately need after months in captivity. And there will be even bigger reunions with some of their families. This is potentially a new moment, Sabri Saidam, and as you know, there is a call now, not just from outsiders, but from the Palestinian people themselves, that it is time for a new leadership, time for the Palestinian Authority to be reformed, if not to be replaced. Do you also accept that this is time for fundamental change in your own house?
Well, nobody would say no to reform. Nobody should say no to democracy. And, we have promised elections within the coming year. That should definitely happen. And Palestinians ought to choose the leadership they desire. Most importantly is not to see this being parachuted in. The council Trump intends to form has not materialized so far, but he's talked about it today. He called it the board. And if that board appears to be a resurrection of old-time colonial rule of Palestine, is not going to be welcomed by Palestinians. So I think people should believe in our competence, and we will work hard towards fulfilling the wish of our people in terms of holding elections, so that the only way to power comes through the ballot box and nothing else. No military might, no weapons, and no nuclear weapons that Israel is amassing will definitely bend the hearts and minds and backs of Palestinians. We're adamant, and we would like to see a new reality indeed.
Cautious hope, Sabri Saidam? Cautious?
always been cautiously optimistic, but now this time I'm adamant to see a different reality on the ground. I'm adamant to work harder together with my peers and others and people who are watching. We should all collectively believe that Palestine is here to stay. The Palestinians are here to stay, and that Palestine is for the Palestinians. Nobody ought to think, even for once, to drive us out, and nobody should ever believe that they could exterminate the rights of Palestinians nor eliminate their identity. We are adamant and we will go forward for sure.